Modern Twiddle Storm is not dead. Despite losing the One Ring and Underworld Breach, the deck is still alive thanks to the Arcane, Ideas Unbound, and Psychic Puppetry. Let's go check it out. This is post-ban Modern Twiddle Storm. So yes, Underworld Breach is gone, and then in the previous ban cycle, the One Ring as well. But I still believe that this deck is alive and thriving. So the build in front of you is more reminiscent of builds from a few years ago that featured arcane spells. But how this deck works is that you would like to find Lotus Field, and then you have untap effects like Dreams, Grip, or Twiddle. But more importantly, in this build, we're featuring arcane spells. So you can also untap Lotus Field using Psychic Puppetry by attaching it to arcane spells like Ideas Unbound, Peer Through Depths, and then Reach Through Mists, and untap and draw cards that way. Eventually, you'll find really powerful newer printings like Stock Up that dig deep into your deck to find Past in Flames. After you've played Past in Flames, you can eventually play a bunch more spells until you play Wish into the Cyborg copy of Grapeshot in order to win the game. Another relatively new upgrade is Consigned to Memory, so that way you can play your Lotus Field on the second turn and then counter the sacrifice ability, so that way you get to keep your land and the Lotus Field, and then untap for easy turn 3 wins. That's the idea behind today's deck list. So while we did lose a few, fire printings over the last few years with Underworld Breach and the One Ring, I still think that this deck is alive and well. So let's find out if that's true. I will see you in the first match. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, cyborg guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicswarm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicswarm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Round number 1, we are on the play. Let's go. Alright, we've opened up Lotus Field, Consigned to Memory. So we don't have any arcane spells, and we don't have Psychic Puppetry, but I think that this hand is actually quite outstanding. We will keep. I'll lead on Polluted Delta and pass the turn. I'm just going to grab our Surveil land here, the Thundering Falls, and then next turn I'll play Lotus Field. They use Arid Mesa, so this looks like it's probably Boros Energy. They find Sacred Foundry and an Ocelot Pride. It is in fact Boros Energy. I'll grab the Thundering Falls. We would love a Psychic Puppetry. Let's go. We are looking like a turn 3 win this game. I'll play the Lotus Field. And now I will consign to memory the Sacrifice trigger, so that way we get to keep both of our lands. I'll pass the turn. So Ideas Unbound would be the card we would like to find if I'm going to try for a turn 3 win. They get rid of a Seasoned Pyromancer, and they attack. Ouch. Another land. I don't love that. Let's fetch to thin a land out of the deck. So I'll use the Polluted Delta. I'll grab a basic island. We'll play Preordain. I find Stock Up. Yes. I would like that. And then we'll play the Stock Up. So we're probably not winning right now, but maybe next turn. I'll take the Reach Through Mists and the Past in Flames. So let's just talk about this. I could go Dreams Grip, untap the Lotus Field, Reach Through Mists, splicing Psychic Puppetry, and I'd have 4 total mana, but I feel like that's just really aggressive. I don't need to make that play, where instead I can just untap next turn and most likely win. So our opponent is now going to attack. We'll take it. Ouch. They play land number 3. Ajani. Okay. That's fine with me. I don't care about that. And a Galvanic Discharge. You've got it, friend. Sure. Alright, time to do something. Ideas Unbound, I would love that. Thank you. So here we'll play on Ideas Unbound, splice the Psychic Puppetry. So I'll draw 3 and then we'll untap the Lotus Field. And now I can splice the Reach Through Mists. So we'll do that. Untap the Lotus Field. This will actually generate 1 mana. I draw into Peer Through Depths. So now we can look at the top 5, looking for something good. We'll make a blue, or use a blue. We'll draw another Ideas Unbound, or put an Ideas Unbound to our hand, I should say. And now we will Ideas Unbound again. Splice the Psychic Puppetry. And if I would have waited instead of playing out my island, I could have played another Lotus Field. And then if I had done that, Splicing Psychic Puppetry would end up making mana, so maybe I was a little hasty in playing my land. We'll use the Dream's Grip, and we'll untap the Lotus Field. We have 3 mana floating, so I could play Past in Flames right now. I'm not sure if I want to, so instead I'm going to play Stock Up. We'll take Ideas Unbound and Peer Through Depths. Okay. And now I can play another copy of Ideas Unbound. Yes. Let's play another Peer Through Depths. Splice the Psychic Puppetry. I'm glad we're getting to do the thing in this first game. Feels good. Yes, I'd like to untap. We'll play another Peer Through Depths. Splice the Psychic Puppetry. Storm is 8. We'll take Twiddle. Untap. We'll play Reach Through Mists. This will generate a blue. Psychic Puppetry. Yes. My hand is so large that I can't even see all the cards in it. First world problems, am I right? And now we'll play a Stock Up. We'll take Ideas Unbound and Peer Through Depths. Storm is 12. They're at 19. We'll play Ideas Unbound. I think Stock Up was the glue that this deck needed. For sure. Alright, so now... yeah, like this just feels like super good to me right now. I mean, it's only one game. My opinion could change throughout the league, but this feels very smooth. We'll take a Twiddle. Untap the Lotus Field. Okay. I'm trying really hard to avoid showing them Past in Flames this game. I just don't want them to think that I need the graveyard in order to win. So I'll play a Twiddle. Starting to lag a little bit here. I don't love that. We're playing a deck that's very click intensive, so lagging is not good. We'll play another copy of Twiddle. Yes, I would like to untap. Almost there. We'll tap the Lotus Field for 3 red. And now I'll play the Dream's Grip. Untap the Lotus Field. Alright, it's starting to pick up a little bit, so maybe the lag is going away. Maybe I'm jinxing it by mentioning it, but it did feel a little bit faster for a split second. Play Preordain. We'll bottom both of these. We don't need them. Play another Preordain. We'll keep the Stock Up. Yeah, I want that. And now that Storm 19, I can play Wish. And then play the Cyborg copy of Grape Shot. This is how we do. Storm 21. Click, click, boom. Alright, we win game number 1 against Energy. So now we have to ask ourselves, what are we trying to beat in the post-board games? So I've seen things like Ranger Captain of Eos. I've seen Orum's Chant. These are things that we do care about. So I think you probably want some number of Into the Floodmaw. Maybe 3. And you might want to take out Consign to Memory, just because I don't feel like the post-board games are about speed. And then if you're afraid of Orum's Chant, you can bring in 1 or 2 copies of Pact of Negation. I don't know if we want to do that. You could also just lead off your combo turn on Wish if you're trying to beat Orum's Chant. I think I'm going to try just the Into the Floodmaws this game and hope that they don't have Orum's Chant. We'll see how it goes. Game number 2, we've opened up a hand with 1 land and Preordain, no Lotus Field. This hand does have everything else. So we need land number 2 plus Lotus Field. I think it's a keep. It's going to be a feel bad if we don't find our Lotus Field, but I think that this hand has potential. For 1 Ragavan, I don't want to see that. That is not good when I'm on the draw. We find Wish. Not a great draw here. Play the Preordain. We'll bottom both of these. I just need lands and Lotus Field. Alright, well, we found the difficult card. I just need land number 2 now. They attack with the Ragavan. They exile a Twiddle effect. They play Arid Mesa. They're fetching. Sacred Foundry. They're using the treasure. So is this a Captain Ranger of Eos? Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. Okay. Land? It was the land. Okay, so I believe we're in a position where I can win on my turn 3, assuming that we hit a little bit of good variance. So, Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. They get rid of a Thraben Charm. Okay. Land 3. I believe we have to take the hit here. So we'll fall to 14. And they have 5 mana. If they had tapped out and they didn't have a Shaman, I would have bounced the Ragavan. But my fear with this game currently is just losing to Orum's Chant. And they're not going to play anything else. So that's kind of terrifying. We'll grab Thundering Falls. Surveil. Another Twiddle is good. Okay, so we'll go to my turn. We'll float 2 blue mana. We'll play Lotus Field. And we'll sacrifice our lands. We'll play Reach Through Mist, splicing the Psychic Puppetry, which will untap the Lotus Field. And they Orms chant me in response. I am very good with that. We draw Ideas Unbound. Okay. So I can try to win again next turn. Let's go. Now Fable of the Mirrorbreaker will transform into Reflection of Kiki Jiki. Guide of Souls. They still have 3 cards in their hand. Ocelot Pride, 2 cards in their hand. And now they're attacking. I'm going to bounce the Ragavan. So I'll take 2 damage here. I go to 11. I lose the mana I have floating. They play Ragavan post-combat. Alright, so if they have another Orms chant, I believe I'm dead on board. So if they open up double Orms chant, you've got me. We'll start off with a Twiddle. Untap the Lotus Field. Say yes. And now I will play Wish. This will give me Pact of Negation back up, assuming that it resolves. They have another Orms chant. Oh, brutal. Is there anything I can do to stay alive? I'm at 11. Next turn they copy like Guide of Souls. I think I'm just dead. So the Wish now resolves. I can't play anything. 2, 4, 6. I'm sorry, it's just 2, 4, 6, 9, 10. And then the Guide of Souls trigger kills me. Yeah, I'm dead. Alright, so not having Pact of Negation actually hurt me quite a bit here. Because they opened up on not 1 but 2 copies of Orms Chant. So we'll bring in the Pact of Negations. The question is, do I want Into the Floodmaw? I feel like the answer is probably yes, but we only have so many slots. So do I need to rely on Sink into Stupor instead? I think the answer might be yes. So we'll try this out. It's not a perfect world where you get to have it all, because you are a deck that wins by drawing lots of cards. And if you bring in a bunch of sideboard cards, you're more likely to fizzle. A 7-land hand, we'll send that one back. We have Lotus Field, but no other lands. We'll go to 5. I mean, we have to keep this. I think you just get rid of the 2 Twiddle effects, keeping the Pact of Negation for Orms Chant. We need a lot of things to go right in order to win this match. Alright, it looks like our opponent also took a mulligan to 5. I'm just going to pass the turn on turn 1 and grab the Surveil land, and then on turn 2 we can fetch and play Preordain. This way we're not putting cards on the bottom and then immediately shuffling our deck, which isn't a good play pattern. They have turn 1 Sacred Foundry into Ragavan. Not what I want to see here. Okay. We'll grab Thundering Falls. Get rid of land number 3. We don't want that. We draw land number 3. So we'll fetch. I'm at 18. We'll grab Island. We'll play Preordain. I think I'm actually going to keep the Ideas Unbound. We need something to do if I find Lotus Field. So it's not the best play because I do have to find Lotus Field. But assuming that I do, we want the Ideas Unbound. They attack with Ragavan. They exile Psychic Puppetry. So that's a card I would have drawn if I bought them both. And so I'm glad I made that decision. And now they play an Ajani. And an Ocelot Pride. 2 cards remaining in their hand. We draw Twiddle. I think I'm going to use Ideas Unbound as a bad careful study here. And I hit the Lotus Field. The problem now is I don't really have a whole lot to do next turn. So we'll play the Lotus Field, go to cleanup. And I have to get rid of land, Twiddle. And hope that I draw into something good next turn. They play their land. They have 2 cards remaining. They're at 14. Another copy of Ocelot Pride. They have 1 card left. Goblin Bombardment. I don't know if I'm dead or not. I guess we'll find out. So they attack for 6. That puts me to 10. Can you deal me 10 here? So now they flip the Ajani. And I think the Ajani deals me 5. Deals me 4. So I would go to 5. Think I'm dead. So then they go to the end step, they get 2 cats. I'm sorry, 4 cats apparently. So yeah, they had more than enough to kill me here. Wow, I guess they got a lot of cats. Okay. So I don't know how Ocelot Pride works apparently, but that's a lot of damage. So I'm not going to make them click through. We can go ahead and concede. Yeah, so on my turn, I would have drawn into Sink into Stupor, Reach Through Mist, into Peer Through Depths, which we would want to hit an Ideas Unbound. And we would have fizzled. So, bummer. We had a really outstanding game number 1, and then in both post-board games, things didn't go our way. I think I was incredibly close to winning game number 2. Our opponent had double Orm's Chant, and if I had sideboarded differently, or if I had brought in the Pact of Negation, I think there's a real chance that we would have won that game instead. But unfortunately, we got a loss. It happens. Sometimes your opponent has cards. It's just a part of Magic the Gathering. So we're 0-1 to start off this Modern League, but I have a lot of faith in this deck list. Let's just go win match number 2. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Round number 2, we're on the play. Yeah, I think we keep this. I mean, I don't want double Lotus Field. This hand's essentially a mulligan to 6, but it's a very good mulligan to 6. Looks like we're facing Domain Zoo, a deck that has main deck Stubborn Denial. I've also noticed that a lot of lists play 4 sideboard Damping Sphere, which is definitely a concern. So I will fetch. We'll grab Thundering Falls, Surveil, get rid of the Misty Rainforest. We don't want that. Play our island, pass the turn. They play Sacred Foundry and a Brawler. Yeah, you got it. I'll play a Peer Through Depths in response. We'll take the Psychic Puppetry and go to our turn. Another Psychic Puppetry. So in order to speed things up a turn, I'm going to burn a copy of Psychic Puppetry here, so that way I can stock up this turn. Because I don't really need double Psychic Puppetry. It doesn't do me any favors. And now we'll play stock up. I will take... This is an interesting question. I'm definitely taking the Past in Flames. And then it's between Dream's Grip and the Reach Through Mists. And I feel like the Dream's Grip is better when I have a stock up in my hand. Pass the turn. And now they attack. So my concern with them having Brawler is if they have one of the Stubborn Denials, I'm in trouble. We'll play Twiddle. That resolves, okay. Let's try stock up. We'll take 2 copies of Dream's Grip. And now we'll Dream's Grip to untap the Lotus Field. I wonder if I was supposed to consider taking the, what is it called? The Sink into Stupor to bounce the Brawler, so that way the Stubborn Denial is only a 4 spike. I'm going to play Preordain here. Let's see what my options are. Another Dream's Grip. Interesting. Okay, so I think I just found a line. We're going to put both of these on top. I'm going to entwine Dream's Grip, tapping their lands. So that way, this way I can tap them out of blue mana. And we'll tap the Sacred Foundry in the Lotus Field. And this way they can't counterspell. Yeah, so this wins. So now I'll play the Dream's Grip, untap the Lotus Field. We'll make red mana, and now I can play Past in Flames. And I know that my top card is a Ideas Unbound. We'll untap the... Okay, they just decided to concede instead. I'm good with that. Alright, so that worked out well. Once again, we want into the Floodmaw, get rid of Consign to Memory. There's just not a whole lot of room to board out. Like, if there's a matchup where you need bounce spells and counter spells, your fizzle rate goes way up, and that's my concern. Which is why we play things like Sink into Stupor and Otawara, so that way you don't have to board and bounce spells. But I think with just, 3 or 4 copies of Stubborn Denial, you don't want to bring in Pact of Negation. Game number 2, unfortunately, we've opened up another double Lotus Field hand. So this hand, once again, is essentially a mulligan to 6. That said, I think it's a mulligan to 6 that you're supposed to keep. Because you have 2 lands, you have the Lotus Field. Those are the toughest things. Nile Spellbomb, I don't care. Yeah, sure. I mean, I do care, but it's something that I think is kind of easy to beat. Because you just have to tap it at some point. Now they play a Wooded Foothills, for a Temple Garden, and a Territorial Kavu. I will grab my Surveil land. Thundering Falls. We'll keep the Sink in a Stupor? No, I should probably get rid of it. I have Sink in a Stupor and Otawara already. We'll play the Otawara. Pass the turn. Now they attack. Ouch. They discard a Brawler. Okay. They still have 5 cards in their hand. Flooded Strand. Xander's Lounge tapped. Interesting. And now they're going to pass the turn. I could tap their blue source and then try to win off of just a Twiddle, but that feels a little ambitious to me. So we'll just go to my turn. Peer Through Depths. Let's play the Peer Through Depths. We did not find Psychic Puppetry, so I think I'll take another Peer Through Depths. And then we'll play Sink in a Stupor as a land. I really don't want to play out the Lotus Field into a possible Damping Sphere. So that is my thought process here. They have Sacred Foundry. They're going to attack for 5, so this will bring me to 10. I'm dead to double Tribal Flames. They discard a Wooded Foothills, okay. Another Territorial Kavu, so I'm dead next turn to Tribal Flames. Another Ideas Unbound, okay. So we'll play Lotus Field, and I'll sacrifice these 2 lands. And now I'm going to play Twiddle. That resolved, okay. I'm going to start with an Ideas Unbound. I don't have Psychic Puppetry yet, but I think that's okay. I find a Dream Script and an Into the Floodmaw. Okay. We're going to play it with Entwine. We'll tap the Xander's Lounge and untap Lotus Field. They add a blue. Stubborn Denial. Okay. So that's not good for me. That was what I thought they had. So I don't think there's any way for me to live. Or win this turn, I should say. There's a way for me to live, but I don't think I can win right now. So what I can do is bounce Territorial Kavu and hope they don't have Tribal Flames to kill me. Because I can untap my Lotus Field. And I guess so I guess there's a world in which I could play Ideas Unbound into, like, Dream's Grip plus Psychic Puppetry in order to stay alive and keep going, but that seems ambitious. I think I'm just going to bounce. We'll bounce a Kavu, and now I have to go to cleanup. So we have to figure out what we're going to discard. It's definitely at least Lotus Field, the Past in Flames, and then it's either Peer Through Depths or Stock Up. And I think I want the Stock Up. Now they attack. They discard a Scion of Draco. I go to 5. Land number 5 for them. 2 mana for a Territorial Kavu, and they pass. So if they have another Stubborn Denial, I lose. But I just don't think that's something I can afford to play around. I'll play Twiddle, untap the Lotus Field. Yes. We'll add some blue. Let's play Stock Up. Still no Psychic Puppetry. I will take Ideas Unbound and another Stock Up. We'll untap the Lotus Field. Storm is 3. They're pausing like they have the counterspell. If they have it, we just lose. But I suppose our opponent doesn't know that. So if I think that they have another counterspell, I should play Ideas Unbound. The Ideas Unbound resolved. I did not find a Twiddle effect. Ay. I'll play the land for the turn. We'll play Stock Up. So now Stock Up has to find Twiddle plus Psychic Puppetry. Looking at my graveyard, I've used half of the Twiddles so far. I've used 2 copies of Dream Script and 2 copies of Twiddles. So even if they didn't have Stubborn Denial here, which they finally use, my odds of winning were very low. So let's look at the top 5. There's Psychic Puppetry, Twiddle. I would have hit. Wow. Okay. So that's surprising, but, you know, it happens. Sometimes you lose. So the question is, do we want Pact of Negation? Let's try Pact of Negation and no Into the Floodmaws. If I lose to a Damping Sphere, it's going to feel bad. But I just keep on... This seems to be the pattern so far, as I board and bounce spells and then lose to stack interaction. Sure. I mean, this doesn't have a way to really dig for Lotus Field, but the rest of it is pretty good. We'll play Polluted Delta, pass. Wooded Foothills, Great Temple Garden, Wild Nicatl, classic. Alright, we're going to grab the Thundering Falls, get rid of the Wish. We just don't need it right now. Need to find that Lotus Field. We will fetch just to thin the deck here. And then let's play Reach Through Mists. Preordain, we'll play that. I think we're supposed to bottom both of these. And there's Lotus Field, perfect. Okay. Arid Mesa. They fetch. For a Steam Vents. Territorial Kavu. Now they attack for 3. So this might be a window for me to win. And with drawing a third Twiddle, I kind of want to go for it. So I think we're going to try here. Sacrifice our 2 lands. And now I'll play a Twiddle to untap Lotus Field. Play Dream's Grip. Untap Lotus Field. Another Dream's Grip to untap Lotus Field. And now we'll play Past in Flames. Alright, and that resolves. I'll play Twiddle. Play Wish. Storm is 6. We'll play Preordain. Storm 7. Stock Up is a good find. We'll keep that. We'll play Dream's Grip to untap the Lotus Field. Storm 8. Play another Dream's Grip. Untap the Lotus Field. We have 6 total mana right now. So I don't have enough to Grape Shot, Past in Flames, Grape Shot. Sink into Stupor, by the way, is only your own spells. Or, I'm sorry, only your opponent's spells. So you cannot Grape Shot, Sink into Stupor, Grape Shot. It doesn't work that way. So I only need 5 more Storms. So I think I'm supposed to stock up here from 10. Psychic Puppetry and Reach Through Mists. So the Puppetry was an amazing find because now I can play 3 spells guaranteed. So I think we just win now. So we'll splice Psychic Puppetry, another Past in Flames, Psychic Puppetry, Ideas Unbound, okay. We'll play the Ideas Unbound, splicing Psychic Puppetry. And if I didn't draw the Ideas Unbound, if I just drew a land, you could have just cast the Psychic Puppetry into the Cyborg Grape Shot. That would have worked. We'll play Preordain. We'll keep both of these. Float some blue. We'll play Dream's Grip. Untap the Lotus Field. And I think we just end the game. Let's play Grape Shot. Actually, I should play Wish first, in case they like try to Solitude or something. Unlikely, but it gives me protection. So, now we'll play the Grape Shot. Target you. Okay, well that was certainly a draw. And look at that, we got our first match win. Honestly, I feel like we probably should have won match number 1 if I knew how to sideboard better. But, you know, such is life. We are now 1-1 with 3 matches left to go. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Round 3 on the play. Let's do it. So if we find Lotus Field, this hand is bananas. So we keep. I do think that you could play green for Sylvan Scrying. You could also, it looks like we're facing the Domain Zoo deck again. You could also play Expedition Map. I'll admit, I thought about Sylvan Scrying when I was building the deck, and then during match number 1, I was like, oh, I guess I could have played Expedition Map. The issue that I see with those things is that you're a deck where you're winning based on draws. So, and that actually might sound a little odd, but you're playing Ideas Unbound and drawing 3, and you often need a draw into gas. So the problem with playing Expedition Map or Sylvan Scrying is, what if you draw 3 and you draw a card that searches out a land? Like, you just fizzle. So that's the concern that I have. Maybe it's wrong, but I just don't know if I really want to be playing those cards in this deck. I don't know if it's a deck building mistake or not. It's just something I didn't consider when I was building. And, you know, can't have it all, I guess. So I'm going to shock here. And then in their upkeep, I'm going to Reach Through Mist and tap their land to delay their 2-drop. Double Consign to Memory is not what I wanted in this matchup. So they grab a Thundering Falls, and they kept the card on top. Alright, in their upkeep, we will Reach Through Mist, and then we're going to splice Psychic Puppetry and tap their land. I suppose if you wanted to play Expedition Map, you should probably cut the Consign to Memories. Those would be the slots that I think would have to go. They're really the only flex spot, which is why I end up boarding them out. I feel like everything else in the main deck is so crucial. You could also look into like maybe playing, what is it called? Teleria West. That's another option. We find Peer Through Depths, which is not Lotus Field. I would like to find the Lotus Field, please. And now they play Ragavan. Stock up. Alright, I'll play Peer Through Depths. We'll take Preordain. No Lotus Fields in the top 5. Pass the turn. They play Basic Mountain. And now they attack. They exile Reach Through Mists so they can pay a blue and draw a card. They play a Scion of Draco. They do pay a blue and draw a card using Reach Through Mists. I'm running out of time. I really do need to find that Lotus Field quickly. And I do! Wonderful! So next turn they have 6 damage. That would put me to 9. So I think I don't have to win this turn. I'll play the Lotus Field. And now we can consign to memory. They're thinking about playing the Stubborn Denial here. Part of me hopes that they do, and then I can consign to memory again. They let it go. And now I'll play Preordain. We'll keep the Twiddle. Oh, I should have put the Scalding Tarn on top when they have a Ragavan. Whoops. That's my bad. That's my bad. That's an error. Okay. They play Wooded Foothills, and now they'll attack for 6. This knocks me down to 9. I'm dead to double Tribal Flames, but can't beat it all. They flip Ideas Unbound. That's not what I wanted to see here. That's really bad for me. So with the Ideas Unbound, they could dig for another Stubborn Denial, or they could dig for the Tribal Flames. So if they already have one, like the Ideas Unbound digs them into whatever they need here. They play Territorial Kavu, and they chose to not play the Ideas Unbound. Interesting. Reach Through Mists. Okay, so we'll play that and splice the Psychic Puppetry. Preordain. Okay, we'll play the Preordain. Keep the Dream's Grip. Let's try stock up here. We'll take Peer Through Depths in Wish. So Wish gives me a copy of Pact of Negation. I'll play Twiddle on the Lotus Field. That resolves. I would like to Twiddle Lotus Field again. Yes. And now let's play Wish. Storm is 6. My opponent's really tanking on this Wish. We'll see what happens. My indication is that they have 1 Stubborn Denial. If they have 2, I don't know if it's possible for me to win, but we'll find out. And our opponent has played the Stubborn Denial. So now we can Dream's Grip, untap the Lotus Field. That gives us enough mana now where we can Peer Through Depths, splice the Psychic Puppetry. Firm is 9. We'll take Twiddle, untap the Lotus Field, play Twiddle, and then we'll play Past in Flames. Storm 11. And our opponent concedes. Nice. This time we're going to try just bringing in Pact of Negation and sideboarding out Consign to Memory. Game number 2. So we have Pact of Negation for Stubborn Denial. We have a bounce spell for Damping Sphere. What we're missing is Lotus Field, but also an Arcane spell. I'm going to try this. It could be risky if I don't end up finding anything, but I think that these are the sort of hands you're supposed to keep. Alright, another Dream's Grip. We'll just play our Polluted Delta and pass. On their end step, we'll grab our Surveil land. They play Steam Vents. And the Brawler. I will fetch. We'll grab Thundering Falls. Get rid of the Otawara. We don't need it. Past in Flames. Play the Steam Vents past the turn. So even if I were to draw Lotus Field, I can't currently do anything with it. So that is a concern of mine. But, we have draw steps. Let's just hope that I can buy some time. You can also Twiddle to tap their creatures to stay alive a little bit longer as an option. So they attack. I'll go to 14. They use Arid Mesa for a basic Plains. Scion of Draco. Okay. Preordain. We'll play that. I think I just have to bottom both of these praying to draw Lotus Field. Dream's Grip. Okay. This definitely feels like a game where I'm being punished for some of my deck building decisions. I probably was supposed to play a Twiddle there, but I was so busy talking that I just clicked through. So I'm dead to a Tribal Flames now. Put me out of my misery. Just do it. Come on. I believe in you. Rest in peace. Sure. Stock up is not good enough here. So I'm just going to concede. Like, I realized I could Twiddle 2 of their things and, buy time, but it's just not a winning strategy. So I would have drawn Lotus Field next turn. Alright, so we'll go to the next one. I messed up by not twiddling the turn before. Let's try it again. On the play for game 3. Unfortunately, no lands. Mulligan. Think we keep this and bottom the Past in Flames. The opponent has a mulligan to 5. I'll play Scalding Tarn and pass. Wooded Foothills, sure. End step will fetch. Grab the Thundering Falls. Get rid of the island. We just don't need it. Reach through Mists. Let's play Preordain. We'll bottom both of these. Hey, Lotus Field. Beautiful. Pass the turn. They play Flooded Strand. Free Steam Vents. Okay. Territorial Kavu. So we could try for a turn 3 here. Yeah, turn 3. So another Lotus Field was not a good draw, but we're still in a decent spot. So I will reach through Mist, splicing the Psychic Puppetry. Flooded Strand, another not so great draw. And now I can peer through depths, splice the Psychic Puppetry. We find Ideas Unbound. So that is the card I wanted to find. But now we have to Ideas Unbound into good cards because we've just drawn a lot of blanks so far. I guess we're still in it for now. We'll play Peer Through Depths. Splice the Psychic Puppetry. 4 copies of Stock Up. So that means that I have fizzled. We have 3 Stock Ups on the bottom of our deck. I'll play a Stock Up. We'll take Ideas Unbound and a Dream's Grip. I now have to pass the turn and discard 3 cards. We'll get rid of 3 lands. If they slam a Damping Sphere, I definitely lose the game. My hand is not set up to beat a Damping Sphere at the moment. So they'll attack with the Territorial Kavu. They discard a Scion of Draco. And they just pass the turn. Okay. Another Lotus Field. Yikes. What to do, what to do? I think I'm going to pass the turn. That's what I'm going to do here. So our opponent hasn't shown me that I'm dead. So unless like they have End Step Tribal Flames, untap, and then like what, so the reason I want to pass is I can sink in a Stupor here to bounce the Kavu, and that makes the Stubborn Denial bad because they either need another blue mana here, or they have to burn the Stubborn Denial now, or just use it as a force spike. And if they don't recast the Territorial Kavu, then, you know, it just buys me more time. So they use the Stubborn Denial, which is perfectly fine with me. And now they can attack with the Kavu, putting me to 9. So my hope here is that they don't draw an untapped blue mana. They discard another Scion of Draco. I go to 9. Thundering Falls. Okay, so now we're in a spot where I probably need to try to win. Past in Flames is beautiful. I think we got it. I'll splice the Psychic Puppetry onto Ideas Unbound. There we go. Twiddle. And we'll twiddle again. All the mana in the world. I feel really bad that we could be 3-0 right now in this league if I just played a little tighter against energy and sideboarded correctly. I don't want to dwell on it, but I feel like this deck is better than my performance so far. Splice the Psychic Puppetry. I'm also very sick, by the way. I don't know if you could tell that I'm very congested. I sound very nasally. And I've caught myself misspeaking a couple times throughout this video already. But, you know, gotta make the content. Gotta do my videos a week. And sometimes people are like, oh, Bryant, you should just take a day off. But I have sponsor obligations and stuff like that. So, not really an option. But, you know, I'm happy to be playing, you know, Magic the Gathering. I love playing Storm, all that good stuff. But I apologize if I just sound terrible. I've been sick for roughly 3 weeks now, and today it's just like gotten worse, so it happens. Okay, Storm is 10. We'll play another Reach Through Mists. Splice the Psychic Puppetry. I will play a Wish. Play Scalding Tarn. We'll play Past in Flames. Oh, my opponents just decided that they're done. Good with me. We're now 2-1. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Match number 4 on the play again. This seems fine to me. Keep. We need 1 land to start playing stock ups. So before I mentioned Expedition Map and Sylvan Scrying as cards that you could possibly play, Part of me thought that maybe you didn't need those if your deck had stock up in it, but I think there's a chance that you might still want something. Chalaria West is certainly an interesting option, but I'm just not sure what you cut from the deck, and it seems like the mana base is where you'd want to look. So maybe you could cut a few fetch lands and play something like Chalaria West, which also grabs your copy of Otawara, Soaring City. So those are interesting inclusions you could make. I'm not really sure what the exact answer is, but Stock Up seems like a relatively good card for digging for your copies of Lotus Field too. We see a Marsh Flats for basic plains, Ocelot Pride. So probably Boros Energy again. We'll grab the Thundering Falls. We'll keep the island because it does get me to stock up. Play the island and pass. They attack with the Ocelot Pride. Ouch. And another copy of Ocelot Pride. End step, we'll play Reach Through Mists. Another land. Okay. I'm going to need a fairly good stock up here. Past in Flames was a decent draw, assuming that we can find the Lotus Field. We'll grab another island and stock up. Did not find the island. I'm sorry, did not find the Lotus Field. We'll take Psychic Puppetry and Preordain. Pass the turn. They find an Elegant Parlor. So now they attack for 4. I'll go to 13. Sacred Foundry. They're at 19 now. Seasoned Pyromancer. So I'm pretty close to dead next turn. They discard a Goblin Bombardment. So I am definitely dead next turn. Holy moly. So I guess it's Lotus Field or bust here. That is a stock up, so I'll play the Preordain. Well, there's a Lotus Field. Okay, so step 1. So now we play the Lotus Field, and I'll sacrifice the islands. We'll twiddle the Lotus Field. So I don't have an Arcane spell here. So what I have to do is play stock up, and I'm really looking to hit like double twiddle, or twiddle plus an Arcane spell. We have 7 twiddles still in the deck. Alternatively, and I'm just talking out loud, I could burn the Psychic Puppetry in my hand, and then that gives me 5 mana to play Past in Flames, and then I could play the twiddle out of the graveyard, but that's actually still the same amount of mana. Like, I don't actually gain anything by doing that. So we'll play the stock up here and pray to hit. It missed. Ah, brutal. Okay, we came so close. Devastating. We will bring in the Pact of Negations, get rid of the Consign to Memory. Game number 2. We've opened up just the Lotus Field. Have to send that back. This hand doesn't seem very good to me. So you have 2 Reach Through Mists. You'd bottom the Past in Flames, so you have to draw into land number 2 and then the Lotus Field. No Psychic Puppetry. Every mulligan with this deck is so damning, but I don't believe in this hand, so I'm going to go to 5. Ay. We'll put 2 copies of Pact of Negation on the bottom. Play Flooded Strand, pass the turn. They play Sacred Foundry and Guide of Souls. I'll fetch with the Flooded Strand. We'll grab the Thundering Falls. I mean, I want the Psychic Puppetry. It's just, am I supposed to keep it knowing that I have to find the Lotus Field? I'm going to get rid of it. It feels really bad because this is a card we need to win, but I just have to find the Lotus Field first. Pass the turn. Land number 2. There's an Ocelot Pride. They attack. I'm at 18. Peer Through Depths. It doesn't find Lotus Field, but we can play it. And there's no Lotus Field in the top 5. We'll grab another Peer Through Depths. Pass the turn. Elegant Parlor gets rid of a Goblin Bombardment. And there's another. Okay. So they attack. They still have 2 cards in hand. They're drawing to Otawara. I'm going to play Ideas Unbound here as a bad careful study. We just need to try to draw into it, and I missed. So I think that means we probably just lose. I'll play the Otawara, go to cleanup, get rid of Wish, Past in Flames, and Peer Through Depths. I'm at 15. I don't expect to die this turn. I mean, if it happens, it happens, but I'm not expecting to die. I'm going to need the best Ideas Unbound of my life if we want to win this. Post combat, they fetch 3 mana for a Flage. They can fling that. Actually, am I dead? I think I'm dead. And now they create 2 more cats and I lose. Wow. Getting turned forward by Boros Energy, the mid-range deck. Yeah, I just want to see what my top cards would have been. So draw for turn, not good enough. And then we would have played Ideas Unbound, tapping 2 lands. And that would have missed. So not finding Lotus Field was a problem this match. Unfortunate. So we're now 2-2 with 1 match left to go. Want early access to articles at theepicstorm.com? Become a member of our Patreon to get articles 7 days early, on top of other sweet benefits, and help us pay our website team. You can sign up at patreon.com/theepicstorm. The final round, we're on the draw. I've opened up a hand with 2 lands in Lotus Field, so we keep. What's funny about this league is I felt like some matchups where we've really struggled to find our Lotus Field, and then in other matches, I draw a double Lotus Field in every opening hand. So, I can't really control that, but it's not ideal. And I think I'm just going to grab the Thundering Falls here. Keep the Ideas Unbound, a great find. So we're set up to try to win the game on turn 3. They play a Nurturing Peat land. I get the Soul Cauldron. I do not care about that card, sure. Let's play Preordain. I think we're going to keep both of these. And then I'll play a tapped Seam Vents. Pass the turn. They exile my Preordain. Sure, you taught me. Land number 3. Wall of Roots. Into a Malevolent Rumble. And a Walking Ballista. So now they can exile the Walking Ballista. They put it on the Young Wolf. Sure. Time to try to win. We'll add 2 blue mana. Play the Lotus Field. Sacrifice our 2 lands. And now I will splice Reach Through Mist with Psychic Puppetry. We'll draw a random card, which was a land. And now we'll do Ideas Unbound. Splice the Psychic Puppetry again. A Twiddle and Peer Through Depths. Okay. We'll play 1 copy of Peer Through Depths. Storm is 3. Take the Ideas Unbound. And now we'll play Ideas Unbound. Storm 4. Another Psychic Puppetry and a Dream's Grip. So we'll play Peer Through Depths, splice the Psychic Puppetry. We'll take stock up. Let's play Twiddle, and then Preordain. Might as well keep a Reach Through Mist. It's the same thing as drawing a random card, but it makes me a mana. And I drew an island. So we've drawn a lot of lands this turn. We will play stock up. Peer Through Depths, Preordain. Okay, we're sort of running on fumes here. I will Dream's Grip to untap the Lotus Field. And now I can Peer Through Depths, splice the Psychic Puppetry, Storm 11. There's Past in Flames. So I think that does it as long as our opponent doesn't have Endurance. So I just want to talk through this. So I could untap the Lotus Field, which gives me 4 mana. We burn 1 Psychic Puppetry, which gives us 5. And then Past in Flames floating 1, we could Twiddle and Dream's Grip. So the only downside is if they have an Endurance in their hand. I think you're supposed to just try to win with the Past in Flames. So we'll burn the 2nd copy of Psychic Puppetry. Yes. We'll make 3 red, and Past in Flames floating a blue. Play Twiddle to untap the Lotus Field. Play Dream's Grip. Untap the Lotus Field. And now we can Ideas Unbound. Splice the Psychic Puppetry. From 16, Ideas Unbound. Splice Psychic Puppetry. From 17... We'll play Peer Through Depths, splice the Psychic Puppetry. I don't even know what's in my hand at this point. A lot of it's off screen. There's Wish. That should win the game. Alright, so we'll scroll over. And we have enough resources to win now. So I'll play Twiddle. Play Dream's Grip. And now I will play Wish. And the Grape Shot. Sweet. We win game number 1. So now the question is, how do you sideboard for this matchup? A lot of lists do play like 4 Thoughtseize between the main deck and the sideboard. But is that enough where you want to bring in Leyline of Sanctity over the Consigned to Memories? In addition to that, they could have something that actually prevents you from winning the game like Damping Sphere. So do you want Into the Floodmaw? I think the Leylines are more for dedicated black decks and not just decks with 4 Thoughtseize. So I'm going to bring in Into the Floodmaw and get rid of Consigned to Memory. Game number 2, we're on the draw. This hand isn't incredible, but I think we're going to keep it. They play Besage Who Endures and just pass. Interesting. I think I'm going to fetch and Preordain. Hey, we find the Lotus Field. Perfect. Don't need another stock up. Nurturing Peatland, Wall of Roots. The second Past in Flames was kind of a stinky draw. We'll play Peer Through Depths looking for the Psychic Puppetry. We find it. Okay, so it looks like I have another turn 3 win here. And they're just passing. Okay, so this might be like a collected company. We'll float 2 mana. We'll play the Lotus Field. Or it could be a Chord of Calling. I don't think that they play collected company anymore. I mean, it's been a while since these decks have played that, I think. So it's probably Chord of Calling for 2, but I don't know what that gets them. So I'll play a Twiddle. Yes, we'll untap. I would like to play Ideas Unbound. Splice the Psychic Puppetry. They fetch in response. Okay. For an Overgrown Tomb. Is this Chord of Calling for Orcish Bowmasters? Chord of Calling for 2. I think it is Chord of Calling for Orcish Bowmasters. Unless they have like a dedicated Hate Bear. And it is Orcish Bowmasters. Okay. So, Bowmasters is annoying, but we can win through it. So I'll take 3. Also, they just put themselves to 15. So I like that. I'm just going to auto-yield here. And now I will reach through Mists. Just disrespecting their Orcish Bowmasters altogether. The Bowmasters only matters is if I'm dead. So don't die, right? Like that's the game plan. We'll play Dream's Grip. Untap the Lotus Field, Storm 5. So I can Past in Flames right now. Or I could stock up. And I think I'd rather stock up. Try to get some more resources. Another Psychic Puppetry and Sink into Stupor. So that was a little stinky. I have to burn Psychic Puppetry in order to play Past in Flames. So this is Storm 8. We'll play Twiddle from the graveyard, untap the Lotus Field. And now I'll play Dream's Grip. Untap the Lotus Field, Storm 10. We'll play Peer Through Depths, splice the Psychic Puppetry, Storm 11. Into the Floodmaw and Reach Through Mists. I think it's actually Reach Through Mists. Like, I don't think I care about this Orcish Bowmasters. And now Ideas Unbound, splice the Psychic Puppetry. I'll go to 11. Okay. Another... Wait, I thought I had another Ideas Unbound. I guess I don't. Okay. So I guess we'll Reach Through Mist from the graveyard. Splice the Psychic Puppetry. I'll go to 10. And there's the Wish. So that should be the ball game. We'll Reach Through Mist, splicing Psychic Puppetry. Ouch. And we'll play Wish. Storm 15 and Storm 16 is Grape Shot. Target you. Click, click, boom. So it looks like we're going to finish this league with a 3-2 record, which is fine. Especially considering I probably cost us match number 1 with my sideboarding choice. So that hurts, because this could have been a 4-1 league. I did expect to have some problems finding Lotus Field at some point. Like, that was something I kind of thought going into the league without playing like a Sylvan Scrying. But I thought with stock up, you would just be able to dig for Lotus Field most of the time. So when you look at the deck list, I think really the only flex spot in the main deck is 3 copies of Consign to Memory that really speed you up in a lot of matchups. So you could play Teleria West. I think that is a card that is really interesting because it means that you get to keep your Consign to Memories and you end up trimming other lands. So like maybe you cut a Flooded Strand and a Misty Rainforest. And then if you do that, you also can find your Otawara more often or something like that. I don't know if that's even good. It's just an option you have. Another thing that I think is really interesting is what if you put 1 Lotus Field to the sideboard and then you played a 4th copy of Wish? And then you could Wish for the Lotus Field. So that means you have another way of tutoring for it without playing something like Teleria West. I do think you'd probably have to play 2 Steam Vents if you wanted to do that, but it's another choice. It's just something to think about. I don't know if it's good or not because then you find it less often in Game 1 situations, but it's something worth testing. Another idea that I had, and I started brewing this up in the middle of the league, is this is only a 52 card deck. But what if you cut the Arcane package and instead you just played Pieces of the Puzzle, Vizier Tumbling Sands, which is a little bit of a nombo, by the way, because you can't find Vizier off of Pieces of the Puzzle, but this gives you 8 main deck slots because the Arcane package is 16. So then you could play 4 Expedition Map and 4 Protection spells or something else. My concern with this list is that you're really relying on chaining twiddle effects off of stock ups and pieces of the puzzle and just finding them in mass before you win with the Past in Flames. Like, I think this build might actually be a little bit of a trap, but it's something you could try out and see if you like it or if it even works. But I think the Arcane build was promising today. I think that you need a better way to find Lotus Field and you need to sideboard correctly, which I did not do in one match, but I don't think Twiddle Storm is dead. I really don't. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I appreciate you watching, and yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. Keep storming. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. After you do that, open up our description where you can find all of our social media networks, including our Discord, where you can discuss today's deck in that Discord with me and tons of other combo masterminds. It's absolutely free to join, and it's certainly worth your while.